Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined by Jonny McFarlane outside the Rangers Training Centre. He's attended the press conference with Michael Beale and Ianis Hagi speaking to the assembled press ahead of the game on Sunday against Aberdeen. Lots of interesting bits of information to come out, especially from Michael Beale, Jonny. What's the big talking points? Interesting. Information on Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos. There was also an interesting point on potential contracts being offered to some out-of-contract players. Can you tell us what the big takeaways were?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I think the big point was at the end of the presser, after the questions had ended, someone piped up with one final question about the links that suggest Ryan Kent is on the verge of a move to Turkey. Michael Beale said, as far as he's aware, there's no truth in that. There has not been a contract offer for either Alfredo Morelos, I'm doing an Ali McCoy there, Morelos, or Ryan Kent, which I have to say, I think it's a bit interesting. We've had slightly mixed messages because my understanding, I think Michael Beale has kind of suggested in the past that Ryan Kent was somebody he wanted to keep, and those conversations would be happening, but certainly looks like now from what he was saying there, Derek, is that Morelos and Kent will be seeking pastures new in the summer, which I don't think is really a surprise. He's not come out and said that, but he's certainly given that suggestion.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. That was interesting about Turkey. I mean, it's highly respected, I think, Turkish journalists over there suggesting that he has agreed terms with Fenerbahce, but he says that there's no truth in that, which was quite interesting, but no contracts have been offered to either of them. He did say that one or two talks have been ongoing with players out of contract, and he says we'll announce them as they're definite. There's one or two we've offered contracts to. What your inclination, Jonny? Who could that be, do you think?
Well, I think we can say that it's probably Ryan Kent for a start, and after that, we don't really know. Sorry, Ryan Jack, not Ryan Kent. Sorry, this is that's not a great start for me, is it? So, yeah, no, I think Ryan Jack would be the obvious one. The manager has said previously that he's someone that he wants to keep at the club. He's obviously got a very, very checkered injury history over the last couple of years, but I think we all know that when Ryan Jack is at the top of his game, he's a player that Rangers want to have around. He's a leader. I think he's on and off the pitch capable of driving the team forward. So I'm not surprised at all that he would be someone that would be looking at open conversations with, despite the injury scenario, which is difficult. And there will be people who think that because of that he shouldn't be part of this squad going forward. For me, I just think you have to get the mind frame that Ryan Jack is going to play half the games.
Yeah.
And if you can get him on a sort of pay-as-you-play deal, then I think that's absolutely worthwhile, Derek. And he's someone I would want to keep around. As for the rest of them, you look through the players that are available. I think Al McGregor should definitely be moved on at this stage. Scott Arfield, I think if you look at the pure numbers, I think he's got 9 goals this season. I think he's a good option off the bench, but fundamentally, I just don't think the fans are going to swallow that, Derek. I don't think you can have too many of the old stagers still hanging around. Don't think that would be popular, despite the fact he is a popular guy and a popular player. I just think there's a sense that a new broom is required across all aspects of the club, and people won't be satisfied, I don't think, until they get a sense that that's what's happening. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, just on Jack, I'm not entirely sure he'd be too enamoured with a pay-as-you-play, but it sounds good in theory. And interesting point from Michael Beale saying that they have offered contracts to one or two. Malik Tillman was brought up, Jonny. His season is over. A hamstring injury suffered against Celtic, which is a huge blow for him. He's gone back to Bayern Munich for them to have a look at him. Obviously, he said he's had his scan, Michael Beale, and he's gone back there for treatment. He was asked if that is the last time Rangers fans will see him. He says that they're still ongoing in the background. What's your gut feeling on Malik Tillman, Jonny?
I think Malik Tillman's probably going to leave. It's a big amount of money. Michael Beale was effusive in his praise about the levels that he's capable of hitting, and I totally agree. Malik Tillman's going to be a very, very good player. It's going to come down to the player, and this is his first loan. Will he want to leave Bayern, one of the true elite clubs of world football, after one loan when there's still hope there? I don't know. I think that would be a real get if Rangers were able to persuade him to come back for a longer term deal. I also understand, Derek, why so many people look at the deal and think £5.5 million to secure a guy who, if he comes and hits the ground running, if he comes and really tears it up in Scottish football, will still have a release clause back to Bayern for a fee that won't allow Rangers to capitalise on his true value. I can understand why they look at a business deal like that and say, would we be better spending the money elsewhere? So could you go out and get 3 £1.75 million players that we can turn round into £10 million players?
Yeah.
Now, we know that that's not easy to do. We know that it's a gamble, but there's a route to the player transfer model that Rangers are so keen on there. I don't know if that's going to be the case if you sign Malik Tillman on a permanent deal.
Yeah, interesting, certainly. And you asked the manager about Robbie McCrory. He says he's fit and available. A decision will be made on that on Sunday. Has to play, Jonny, does he not?
I think so, Derek. It's time for Robbie McCrory to show what he's all about. He's had an injury. It's been unfortunate. He's someone that when he stepped in the past, I think, was flawless. You look at those games against Alashkert and Celtic under Steven Gerrard. High pressure. In fact, that Alashkert one, I remember talking to Stuart Robertson about this, and he said he was watching that game from behind his sofa because the potential downside of not reaching the Europa League group stages at that point were quite severe from a financial point of view. So there was a huge amount on the line in that game, and I thought, despite the fact he didn't have much to do there, he obviously didn't do anything wrong. In the Celtic game, he was excellent, made a couple of good saves from Kyogo, and carried himself really well. He's a young guy with a lot of talent. It's now time for him to step up. He's not a kid anymore, and he'll never have a better chance to become a Rangers player, Derek, of note. I remember back to Alan McGregor, roughly around the same age. Rangers went out and signed a French international goalkeeper called Lionel Letizy. I don't think he'd had that many caps, but he'd had a few.
Yeah.
He came in under Paul Le Guen. Alan McGregor was very much seen as the second choice after several loan spells. Letizy didn't set the heather on fire, Derek. He didn't look particularly suited to Scottish football. He's a guy that wasn't comfortable coming to collect crosses. Where have we heard that before with a Rangers goalkeeper? McGregor came in, though, after an injury and performed brilliantly. The fans could see right away he was a guy that got it, understood the club, understood what was going to be asked of him, and he won hearts and minds with performances very quickly. Robbie McCrory has to do the same. You're not giving it at Rangers. You have to come and take it. I asked Michael Beale later in the press conference about this very topic, and I thought he gave a brilliant long-form answer on what he's expecting from Rangers players if they want to make the jump up from the youth level to the first team. It's pretty clear he wants young, hungry, angry, a significant difference because they want it. And Robbie McCrory has got to show that he wants it. He's going to have a chance now.
Yeah, but we're getting you on audio, Jonny. But your face is frozen. But don't worry. Oh, there you're back there. Don't worry about it. We'll carry on. Just a couple other interesting points from the press conference.
Issue, Derek.
What's that? Sorry. We'll carry on. Hopefully, we'll bear with you, Jonny. Injuries on the injury front ahead of Sunday. The manager said that Borna is out. Ryan Kent has a few issues. It looks like he will be out. I don't think he'll be playing anyway. Big chance for Ridvan, is it not? We seem to be losing Jonny there. I think we'll wrap it up there, folks. But yeah, the manager, just to sort of give you the highlights of what he did say, says Borna will miss this weekend. There's one or two who didn't train earlier in the week. Scott Arfield hasn't trained until today. And then Ryan Kent, he says he came off for tactical reasons at the weekend. but they'll continue to monitor him because he's had one or two ongoing issues. So he says it's an opportunity for Ridvan and others to come in and stake a claim. He actually named Robbie Matondo as well. He says they're new signings at the start of the season who have not had the opportunity to come in. Now we've got Jonny back here. There we go. Superb stuff. He's put 50 pence in the meter. I was just touching on the injury front, Jonny, and Michael Beale said it's an opportunity for some. He mentioned name checks, Ridvan and Robbie Matondo. I'd imagine we'll be seeing them on Sunday.
Yeah, I would expect so, Derek. We know that Ridvan and Robbie Matondo haven't set the heather alight. Not been terrific, it must be said. What I would say, Robbie Matondo for me has been a bright spark in the last couple of games when he's come on, and I'm looking forward to seeing him get a couple of starts. To me, he looks physically bigger. He looks like he's bulked up in the gym, which he'll need to perform in Scottish football. We know he's rapid. So it's about him grasping it. It's the same as Robbie McCrory, Derek. You won't get too many chances to prove yourself as a Rangers player. He came in, he looked terrific in his first game, and then it's just been a bit of a disaster since then. It's now on him to go and show what he can do. It's a second chance, if you will. If he's going to be part of things next season, he needs to perform. Ridvan, Derek, I'm on the Ridvan should probably be sold train. I look at it, he's not been picked ahead of Borna Barisic. He's been fit for quite a while. If the manager doesn't think he can give more than Borna, I think it's time to move on. He's still got value in Turkey. I think you could sell him back for what you bought him for. Time to turn that over for me.
Interesting.
If Beale doesn't see him as part of the long-term plans, and I think at the moment, looking at the evidence that's in front of us, despite the fact Michael Beale has in the past waxed lyrical about him as a player, he's not selected him, and that speaks volumes.
Yes, I think it does. Ianis Hagi was put up as well. Jonny, what was anything of note that he said as well? Should we read into the fact that he was put up for the press conference that he'll be playing on Sunday?
I would expect so. That's normally how it works, Derek. He's such an intelligent, articulate young man, Ianis Hagi. He's a really, really likeable guy and very informative. If you sit down and ask him a question, he thinks about it and gives you a detailed answer. I think what came across most obviously was that Ianis Hagi, I think, thought it was going to be a little bit more straightforward to get back than it has been. He said, ACLs, they are no joke. This is a serious injury, and he perhaps now that having gone through it, he really realises what that means. He talked about how he's slowly getting back to fitness, and he's more fit now than he was 3 months ago. But he doesn't have the ability to play 90 minutes, Derek. He's very clear on that, about not having that aerobic sense. You need games to get that. So you hope that he goes and gets 60 minutes in the game at the weekend. Yeah. But it might be as a sub. He certainly needs to get minutes in his legs. There's no doubt about that, and he was very clear on that. Yeah. He was also bullish, Derek, absolutely bullish on his future at Rangers. He wants to be part of this club going forward. He sees a position here for him under Michael Beale, and he's adamant that he's got the goods, both physically and in terms of quality, to be a major success at Rangers. It was a very, very confident press conference shown from the young man. I don't think there's any doubts in his mind he can contribute going forward. Interesting stuff. Well, folks, you can check those press conferences out on our YouTube channel. Do and go and have a look for yourself. Big thanks to Jonny outside the training centre who's been at the press conferences for us today. And thanks to everyone for interacting as ever. We'll speak to you a little later on. Bye for now.